I want to thank each and every single individual that is now tuning in to the Team Hit Squad podcast. My name is Lloyd Knox, and I represent HitSquadTv. And before we get this entire thing started, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Anabolix Skate. You can check them out at anabolixskate.com. If you use HitSquadTv, you're going to get yourself 10% off. Make sure you check out their entire library of wheels, all of the swag that they have, the shirts. Make sure you check all of that out. Empire Skate Shop. You can check them out at empireskateshop.com. When you use HitSquadTv, you get 10% off. So you can definitely use them for things that you're missing or tearing apart, like laces, or if you need some new bearings, anything like that, new helmet. You can check out some S1 gear out there. They have 187 as well. So make sure you check them out, empireskateshop.com. RollerCon passes are now on sale. Got to get your passes because I'm expecting to see each and every single one of you listeners out there at RollerCon. I'm going to be out there. It's going to be a great, fantastic time. So make sure you get it, rollercon.com. Is it July yet? BigOTournament.com on May 3rd all the way to May 5th. Big O Tournament is coming to you. We have a couple teams that are going to be going down there. From Montreal Roller Derby, led by Team Hit Squad athlete Miracle Whips. You also have Evil Roller Derby. You have Denver Roller Derby, which is going to be the first time that we're going to see Lady Trample in a Denver uniform. Then you have the three-time champions, Rose City Rollers. As far as MRDA teams, you have the newly acquired San Diego Aftershocks that are going to be going. You also have Drive-By City Rollers, both California teams heading up north. Pretty awesome. Puget Sound Outcast Roller Derby. And, of course, the Mr. Testosterone Team Hit Squad athlete-led Vancouver Murder. As far as junior teams go, you have Pile of Bones Derby Club, you have Los Anarchists, and you have the Seattle Derby Brats, and the 2018 JRDA Female Division Champions, the Santa Cruz Derby Groms. It's going to be a great time. Get your tickets now, BigOTournament.com, and if you, for some reason, cannot make it, well, they're going to live stream it as well. And from what I know and from what I've heard and from what I've seen, their live stream is fantastic, phenomenal. So make sure you get your tickets or make sure you get your pass and you will see me or I will see you, one of those two. BigOTournament.com. We currently do have Team Hit Squad shirts as well as the Mr. Testosterone Just Spin shirt currently for sale for $25 and it ships worldwide. All we're going to need is your name, your size, your address, and $25, and you can send that to, what was that thing called? Oh yeah, paypal.me/HitSquadTv. Send all that information, and we're going to get you swagged up in some Team Hit Squad gear. So make sure you do that. Hit Squad University is going to the East Coast. We will be in DeLand, Florida on January 6, 2019. The address to the place is 1779 North Spring Garden. And once again, that is in DeLand, Florida. We're going to have a couple guests. We are going to have Coach Victor Dutch. He is a two-time Open Division champion with the Diamond City Miners. Incredible roller derby mind. You also will have Dizzy Izzy, which currently skates for Duval, and the Attack Pack, and is a World Cup gold medalist. Next, you have Olivia Glisson, the youngest signed S1 athlete, and the youngest player to ever play in dual leagues in JRDA, and is the World Cup silver medalist. And last but not least, you have Speed Bryu, the two-time Open Division champion, and is a World Cup gold medalist. We have a stacked coaching staff here. And we have one more that we haven't even bothered to tell you yet because we've been holding it a secret. We didn't want to just give you everything. Come on now. We have to leave a little bit to the imagination. But no worries, because we are going to tell you tomorrow, and it's going to be awesome. Anywho, I'm going to be there as well. I'm going to be teaching videography class, and the things that you should expect. We're going to teach you how to shoot with your phone. We're going to teach you how to shoot with a camera. We won't go into great amass detail about settings like the iris and stuff like that. We won't go into that. We're just going to teach you on how to shoot. And knowing the fact that people, and like, I don't know how much of the population, but as far as roller derby goes, it seems like 90% of the people have cell phones. And specifically the juniors. So they all have cell phones. I'm going to teach them how to shoot on their cell phone better than what they've done before. Or maybe they already know. Who knows? But the only way for you to find out is to come down there. And you get to shoot with our Sony 4K camera. We're going to have our Canon Rebel as well. We're going to have some things for you to shoot, and we're going to be shooting the On Skates class. So make sure you go to HitSquad University East. Once again, the address is 1779 North Spring Avenue in DeLand, Florida, and that is on January 6th, 2019. So, today's subject, working with what you have. This particular subject means a lot to me, probably even more than music itself, and I love music to death. As a matter of fact, on my wrist, on my left wrist, I have a music equals life tattoo. On my right wrist, it says Finding Forever. And I have these two quotes, or more just, I guess 2 words, but they mean something to me. But this thing in particular means a lot to me for the fact of, let me just tell you this quote real quick. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. When HitSquadTv started in November of 2014, all we had was a GoPro. I remember all the photographers that were there. There was a videographer that was at Jantastic in 2015, the inaugural, and we were there with a GoPro. And I believe I already told you the story about Tristan, but Tristan King, just to keep it short, Tristan King is an incredible photographer that I learned and looked up to since the very beginning. And the first time I met him, he was in the middle of the San Diego Derby Dolls bank track. And I flagged him over. He came over and he said, hey. And I was like, hey, how do I get in the middle? He's like, oh, you got to ask one of the refs. And he ran back. And I thought he was going to go get a ref for me. And I waited there for about 2 minutes until I realized he wasn't going to get anybody. I have to do it myself. And I appreciate him for that. I really do. I appreciate him because it forced me to kind of open myself up. Not saying that I was closed-minded or I was very, private. I was not private, but I was nervous because I don't know anybody. I know nobody. And I didn't have the confidence and swagger that I currently have now, where I have no problem with walking up to any ref. I could shake their hand, look them right in the eye, and ask for, like, hey, is it okay if I come in here? And so on and so forth. But it forced me to begin that journey. And I'm very thankful that he did that, because he could have very well have easily have gotten that person. And I probably still would have gotten to that point. But I realized that I needed to do things for myself, obviously. So going into Jantastic, there is this videographer that has this incredible rig. You know, you've seen those rigs, the ones that they hang on their chest, and this camera is massive. It's quality production. And I'm standing there next to him with a GoPro, and I felt very, very, very intimidated because of the equipment that this person had, let alone the years of experience that this person had. I couldn't tell you how much. It had to have been at least 20, 25,000 on that rig alone by itself. And we're just standing here with a GoPro. And I let it kind of get to me on the first day. On the second day, I had to remind myself, yo, do you remember when you picked up the drums? When you were a musician and you picked up the drums, your best friend Zach bought him for you, and he left to work, and he left for like 4 or 5 hours. He comes back, and you learned how to write a song, and then 3 weeks later you learn how to play. And the big lesson that I learned there was learn as you go. Learn as you go. You don't need to wait for a moment to be perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect moment for you to do something. What you got to do is get yourself up, no matter how inadequate you are in what you are trying to do. Like half the battle is you taking that first step forward and continuously pushing yourself, because family, friends, or whoever you have that's in your inner circle, they will support you. They will love you, and they will push you towards that goal. And that's what I discovered. I always thought that I was by myself in everything, until I realized that I had my family behind me. Like, at first, I remember seeing my mom, my dad, they were very disappointed that I wanted to do music instead of going to school or to better myself in that way. I enjoyed the struggle. I enjoyed the hustle. I learned how to live off of just $20. I learned how to live off of just $10. I learned how to not eat for 2 days and still be okay. Now I can't do it now, because every time I go without eating the first 5 hours that I wake up, I'm about to pass out on the 6th. So I can't really do that anymore. But I learned what hustle was. I learned what struggling was, because I put myself in that situation. I made a decision a very long time ago that I was not going to like school and I wasn't going to do it. And I really stood with that. But at the same time, I accepted the fact that I was going to struggle really hard, but it was by my own doing. And sometimes I had to remind myself that it was my own doing. It wasn't my parents. My parents didn't kick me out. I moved out. I could have easily, at the age of 18, stood with my parents and just stayed there, rent-free, and taking advantage, not paying anything, and then, going out all night and come back in the morning, and my parents are dead worried about me, and I just turned 18. And I made that decision to move out. I made the decision to get out and go live my own life and try to figure it out my own way. And it was quite possibly a very big blessing in disguise years later. Not in the beginning. In the beginning, I had nothing. Literally, I had nothing. When I moved out, I had my 1994 Toyota pickup truck, and I had 2 boxes. That's really it. I had a mattress. That was pretty much it, though. And I didn't have to put myself in that position. See, that's the thing that I really want to push. Like, I didn't have to. I mean, my parents were jumping down my throat that I was wanting to go out, and I was still obeying their rules. And I was like, you know what? They've always told me if I wanted to live under my own rules, if I wanted to make my own rules, I need to move out, and therefore that's what I'm going to do. So I move out. I quickly learned that this is not easy. This is not easy at all. I was trying to look for a full-time job. I had a part-time job. I was working at Sears in the fitness section during that time. And I remember more or less enjoying the freedom instead of me having to go find a job. So I stood with my part-time job, and my rent, I think, was like $500 a month for my 10 by 10. But I had my independence, so you couldn't tell me anything. What do you mean you get home at 11 p.m.? No, I'll come back at 11 a.m. 3 days later. You ain't gonna tell me. And that quickly wore very thin. Like, I didn't care about that after like 2-3 days even. I mean, I take that back. Maybe like 2-3 weeks. I was like enjoying it, going out and just having a good old time. And that quickly wore thin. It wore off. And I was like, I need to get my life together. I'm 18 years old. I need to get my life together. And I didn't get my life together. I moved to at the time it was my girlfriend's house, and I started off with things over there, and I quickly realized that I had no plan in life. Like, I had no real ambitions, no real goals, because me moving out at 18, I completely stopped focusing on music. I completely stopped focusing on a lot of things that made me great and creative at that time. I had to lose it from the ages of 18 to 23 to fully absorb it at 23 and turn it into something passionate. So skip over a few years, and I am at age now 25, let's say 25, and I'm playing the drums, and I'm thinking back at all of this stuff that I had gone through. And I would always think about it before a show, because I would always consider myself lucky. I'm very lucky to do what I love. Play music part-time, have a job part-time, and be creative, and to complete advantage of it. From that time, from 24 all the way to 28, when we were still doing music, I was like, I learned so much stuff. And it all started with where I was. Like, I didn't have anything at the time, but I had a passion. I wanted to do something. And I started where I was. I started with nothing. All I had was a passion, and I had an intention. My passion was music. My intention was to make a living off of it. And as far as using what I had, I didn't have any money, so I needed to start some way, somehow. So I pretty much asked my best friend, like, hey man, because you never know. When someone sees how passionate you are about something and you get excited and then they get excited, they're gonna want to help you. Sometimes it might not be financially, sometimes it might be emotionally, sometimes it might not be in the way that you think you need, but that's going to benefit you in some way, somehow, even if it's not monetary. And doing what you can. The best way I can describe it was 3 of the best learning years of my entire life. I learned so much from when I was 18 about hustling and struggling, about not eating and all that. It grew, that hunger grew. The hunger grew once I turned 25, 26, and I was trying to make this a living, and people were consistently doubting, and I'm like, I don't care. You know, even my family was doubting as well. But instead of like hating them and using it to my advantage at that time to try and create something even angrier and stuff like that, I invited them to my shows. Like, hey, come out. I'd love to see you there. And eventually they started coming around. My parents went to one show, and then another, and then another, and then maybe another. I think in grand total, they really just came about 5-6 times. My sister has came to about 3 of my shows, and I've been appreciative for the fact that my family cared enough to come out and support me. I wasn't making hundreds of thousands of dollars. I wasn't making hundreds of dollars. But it fed me, and it kept me happy. It kept me excited, and it made me realize that my passion can make money off of things. If I'm passionate about things, if I'm passionate about music, I can make money off music. If I'm passionate about anything else, which eventually turned into videography, when we started filming. Now finally catching up to the beginning of the story with the GoPro. Start where you are. We started with nothing. Just like I started with music, I started with nothing. But what I had was a passion. My passion was to continue to make my creativity a focal point in my life at that point. You know, when HitSquadTv started, I was working my full-time job. I was with my wife. I was with Michael, my little dude, CEO, which, by the way, if it wasn't for our son, I don't think we really would have started HitSquadTv, because we were looking for an avenue to try and keep our family together. You know, with music, the shows were at night. My son was really small. I wanted to be around my kid. No matter how, he wasn't talking yet, obviously. He was only a few weeks old. But I wanted to be around him. He was just the coolest little dude. And I unfortunately couldn't do music at the time. Then we figured that, hey, this was a lot of fun filming Thanks Scrimmage 2014. Let's see what kind of creative stuff we could come up with. And the community from the very beginning was wonderful. It's beautiful. I love the community. So, start where you are. That's where we were. But we knew what our destination was. Well, I can't even say that, because our destination has probably changed about 400 times from when we started. Like, hey, I just want to do this for fun, to, hey, I kind of want to travel across California. Hey, I kind of want to travel across the United States. Hey, I think I can make money off of this. Hey, how many people can we help? Hey, why didn't anybody tell us about the juniors? Hey, maybe we can start like a university for kids where they could come and learn how to skate and how to do video, and just teaching them about really cool different things. Like maybe even teach them about music. Who knows? You know, we consistently evolved, and I think that's what's important when it comes down to all of this. Using what you have. Like, you got to be passionate about what you are going to get yourself into. And to always make sure you never do it for the money. Obviously, when it comes to us, this is how we make a living. But the end game isn't to make millions and millions of dollars or be popularized as the greatest thing since sliced bread. We realize that this sport is for the skaters, for the fans. What we are is media. We need to facilitate this sport to fans, to different fans. And, you know, every single venture that we ever started with, like take Hit Squad University, start where you are. We started obviously with nothing, but we had this great idea and we know where we want to go. Use what you have. What we had was an abundance of great-minded people that wanted to help and support Hit Squad University. If it wasn't for these people that are behind the scenes, that are so intelligent in helping me with these things, and they're doing it for the love and the passion of it. They're not looking for a paycheck, although I'm not going to let them walk out empty-handed. I'm going to try and facilitate whatever I can to them, whatever they need. But that's what we had, and that was a result of the years of hard work and dedication that we put from Thanks Scrimmage 2014 all the way to December 2018. It was a result of the hustle, the passion. The first 2 years of HitSquadTv, we made $0. We made nothing, but we traveled endlessly. We drove a ridiculous amount of miles. I think in our Nissan that we currently have, when we first got it, obviously it was like 2 miles that it was on it. As of right now, I think it just hit the 100,000 mark. And we've had the car for 3 years, I think. 3 years. I think like 3 years. We've put a hell of amount of miles, and we didn't get any money off of it. And that's because we didn't ask for any money. We were doing it for the love, for the fun of it. And we slowly started realizing that if we didn't say anything, no one was ever going to give us anything. I was working a good job at the time too, so that really, like, I don't care about that. You know, I don't really need money. I got my own money. But I slowly but surely started realizing that I need to be a lot smarter. I need to be smarter with money. I need to be able to, if I want to do this for fun, or if I want to do this for anything, it shouldn't come out of my pocket. And this is for me mentally. This is me talking to myself, not to any business or any team that I've ever worked with. I was just talking to myself. Like, you need to be smarter with your money, man. Like, you can't, like, your family's got to eat. You can't keep taking funds out of here to try and facilitate this. Although it is fun, you always talk about like it's a business. Well, treat yourself like a business. And the reason why I didn't want to treat myself like a business was because people always said that roller derby doesn't have any money. Wrong. Roller derby does have money. You want to know who doesn't have money? Musicians. You ever met a musician? You ever met a rapper? Think about that. Roller derby has money. And music has money as well. And this is what I started realizing. Although we believe that roller derby doesn't have any money because money isn't being given to you, it's because you're not offering the right things. You're a photographer. You want money? Most likely they will hook you up with a gas card. And I believe roller derby has become so overly dependent on volunteers that they feel that they don't want to grow. As long as your mindset is still volunteers all day, and you don't want to get them paid, you don't want to get yourself paid, you don't want to get your organization paid, you don't want your organization on television, on radio, on bigger forums, on the internet. What is your goal? What are you trying to do? You as an organization is supposed to ask, what are we supposed to do? Work with what we have. Yes, work with what you have, but at a certain point as well, you're going to have to start investing in yourself. You need to start opening your ears. You need to start listening to how organizations have grown their organizations. If you pride yourself on being an owner of an organization and you are not growing, and you haven't grown in 3 years, there is a big, serious problem. And it needs to start with where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Do what you can. Push. Use what you have. HitSquadTv is here. We are not charging $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. We're not charging you that. Trainers are asking for $2,000, $3,000 with hotels and all of this stuff. Us, the one that's really trying to help you make money, but we're expensive. We don't look as cool in the lights like a Jackie Daniels or a Freight Train or a Miracle Whips. Team Hit Squad. But just HitSquadTv being brought down there to create promotional videos, to help elevate yourself, to give you a good, strong enough material to get you on television with original music. So that way you're not dealing with copyright laws or anything like that. This is fresh. This is new. And maybe it's because it's never been offered before in roller derby that everyone's kind of timid and kind of scared about it. But they also realize this too. Have you ever tried to hire a videographer for a wedding? You know they charge anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000. And even more, up and beyond. You got $15,000, $20,000. I'm over here charging you $200 to help you not just recuperate $200, but to make you tenfold, to make you known, to help you elevate yourself. Why settle with 40 fans when you can have 400 fans? And all you had to do was start where you were. Obviously, you are a league. that's where you are. You already have experience behind you. Use what you have. You have photographers here. You have Lloyd Knox. You got HitSquadTv. Call us. Let us help you get on television. Let us help you create better promotional material. And this is what's going to start happening, ladies and gentlemen, and anyone that's listening. Listen to me. You start investing yourself in that way, and even if it isn't us, hire a videographer out there. Pay the price, because you will not regret it. Scared money does not make money. Scared money does not make money. I want you to say it with me. Scared money does not make money. If you're not going to invest yourself, no money's going to come out. You're not going to be a YouTube sensation that's going to hit out of nowhere and you're making millions and millions of dollars off of YouTube revenue. It's not going to happen. And if it does, well, damn. But it hasn't happened yet, and that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the facts that I have as of right now. So once again, start where you are, use what you got, and do what you can. It's like the most easiest but most difficult thing to try and understand, especially when you have someone like myself that I do have a very strong personality, and sometimes I don't like to admit when I'm wrong, but when I started listening to people that knew more than me, or more or less, I needed to start hanging out with people that I eventually wanted to become. I remember being 22, going into 23, and I started cutting friends left and right. They were doing the same thing every single weekend. Drink, party, smoke, pass out, wake up, do it again. And just, that was the cycle. That was the cycle. I needed to escape. I started cutting people off, and I started realizing that all this weight started getting lighter, started getting better, started getting faster until I had no more of this excess weight, and I started running towards the direction where I eventually wanted to be. I started where I was. I had terrible friends at that time. I had maybe about 4 or 5 good friends that didn't do that type of stuff, or the people that did eventually grew out of it, and we still stay in connection to this day. I didn't want to be that person. It wasn't glamorized to me anymore. I started realizing that I wanted more. So I moved on up. I started hanging out with musicians. I started listening to them, but then I realized, and it's like just a different level of those type of people. You know, I thought I graduated from leaving these friends behind to jump up to these new ones because they are higher than me, and that's where I eventually wanted to go. I quickly realized that it was levels of it. At the second level, they still had that same type of people. You're always going to have them on all those levels. It's up to you to visually see and realize who's good for you and who is not good for you. And whatever you pick, that is your decision. Live with your decision. You need to have accountability. That's what I like with our Team Hit Squad athletes. They all have accountability. I make sure they have accountability. I didn't ask any of these athletes without seeing accountability. They can tell me they have accountability all day, every day. But seeing it is 100% different, ladies, gentlemen, all my people out there listening. Accountability. It's important to me, and I hope it's important to you. And there needs to be accountability with all of the leagues that dream of being a Rose City. Not athletically, but the way they market. The way they push themselves. And it doesn't look like they're going to be settling anytime soon. And every team out there should strive to want to be that. So what? You only have 7, 8 league members. That doesn't mean you can't grow. You need to put the actual effort to make that happen. Where there is a will, there is a way. Where there is a will, there is a way. So, the GoPro. We filmed for 5 months. And I got to tell you, it was some of my most favorite times I probably have ever had in roller derby, because no one knew us, no one cared. I didn't care to be known. I just wanted to come up with the coolest video out there. And to this day, we still carry that type of mentality. It's not about the competition. I want competition. I need competition. And not to try and prove that I'm the best. It's because the sport needs it. Seriously, all ego aside, Lloyd Knox aside, HitSquadTv aside, we need more videographers. We need videographers. We really do. We have 1 billion photographers and only a handful of videographers. You want to know the reason why we only have a handful of videographers? People, it's really simple. You're not paying them. Do you know how difficult it is to make a video? Do you? This isn't even me. Like, I'm thinking as a business owner, and I'm like, I need to hire a videographer to make this happen. Of course, I'm going to negotiate with the person depending on how expensive they're asking. But videography in general, the reason why it's so expensive is because it's so time consuming. Depending on how fast you are, you can take anywhere between an hour to about 4 hours skimming, and even more sometimes, 8 hours, depending on how much footage you have. Skimming through all the, like, you just saw this game. Now you got to watch it again. And then the third time, until you've seen the particular scene about 8, 9 times. That is mentally tedious. And to try and nail it with the beats. Then you want to add some filters onto it. You want to add the fast. You want to add the slow motion. You want to add music onto it. But leagues want it for free. Nah. That's the reason why we are not growing. Because we are not willing to spend and invest in ourselves. And that is a darn shame. Because this sport is wonderful and beautiful. And every single organization in roller derby can grow and blossom. It's just that they are not investing in themselves. And you want to know why? Because it's just so expensive. I mean, I hear you. I do know. And that's the reason why we don't charge an arm and a leg to go out there and film you. Because we are not trying to take money away from these organizations. We are trying to help you grow. Because eventually, if you grow, guess what? That means I can grow my prices and you're going to be like, yes, no problem. Because we can afford it now. Do you see where I'm getting at now? This is a ladder. Invest in yourself. Yes, it's going to kind of hurt the pocket for the first couple days. But you're going to start seeing the benefits from it. Water your plants. Water your money tree. Your money tree is your business. Water it. Give it the love and the attention that it truly needs. The league just cannot survive off of just dues. It's not going to happen. You know that. I know that. You need ticket sales. You need butts in those seats. You need eyes on that track. Invest in yourself. Buy live stream stuff. Invest in yourself. It's as simple and easy as that. Scared money makes no money. That's as easy as it is. And it's as easy as I'm going to let it go. Eventually, we got ourselves the Sony 4K camera. And that was the biggest game changer. The era that ended was the GoPro era. And the GoPro era was, like I told you before, was one of my favorite eras, if not my favorite era, because no one cared who we were. We were making great connections, great friends. When we got the Sony 4K, everything changed. For the better. I could finally zoom in. I can finally zoom in on command. I can finally see what I'm doing, because when we were filming with a GoPro 3. There was no screen. You could connect it to your phone, but I was holding the selfie stick to try and get the actions and the shots. I really do miss the GoPro era. It taught me a lot. It taught me about my editing, that when I would press play on the computer to try and edit it, it was so stagnant. You couldn't see it. It wouldn't move fluidly. It would stop. 1 second later, moves, stop. 1 minute later, 1 second later, it moves again. You know what I mean? Like it's stuttering. And it sucks. It really sucked. And I hated it at that time. Now, it really taught me how to be patient, how to look at things, and to make sure I'm very thorough in what I look. Because I probably missed a lot of stuff throughout the first 2 years of editing, because I would skim too fast. I wouldn't slow it down. I wouldn't sit there and watch it, because there are some cool stuff that now that I'm sitting here in 2018 and over the past 2 years, I've taken the time to watch everything. There's a lot of cool little things that I've missed. But that is besides the point. Use what you have. It's truly a blessing in disguise, because although we start off with just a hammer as our main tool, and that's pretty much all we have, eventually with enough passion and enough creativity and with enough caring, you can create something so epic and so beautiful that can last a lifetime. And it doesn't have to be roller derby. It could be your relationship with your significant other, with your kids, with your family. You know? And in order for you to start or even continue with that, always start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. No one expects 1,000,000% out of you. The only person that expects 1,000,000% out of you is yourself. And that's okay. And on that note, we are pretty much going to end the podcast there. I want to thank each and every single individual that's tuned in to the Team Hit Squad podcast. Before we let you go, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Anabolix Skate. You can check them out at anabolixskate.com. Use HitSquadTv, get yourself 10% off. EmpireSkateShop.com, same deal. You use HitSquadTv as your code, you get yourself 10% off. RollerCon.com, get your passes. I'll see you out there. I believe the dates are July 17th to July 21st. I'm going to see you out there. We're going to have a great time. BigOTournament.com, this coming May 3rd to May 5th. You can choose to go watch it live at Eugene, Oregon, or you can watch it online. Either way, it's cool with me. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been Lloyd Knox, and you have been a wonderful crowd, and you were just tuned into the Team Hit Squad podcast, and we will see you mañana. Peace.